A warm welcome to everyone. I'm Pamela Mohanty. I'm a graduate in computer science engineering and been a devotee of, and volunteer with Art of Living for over 20 years now. And I'm here with my husband, Soohag Mohanty.
So I am a senior IT professional, and I've been an Art of Living teacher since 2013, and I'm a musician as well. So we are representing the Blessed Channel project, and it is my great honor now to welcome Sri Madhu Raoji and Srimati Sandhya Raoji, who are joining us today from Singapore. Madhuji is formerly the Vice Chairman and CEO of Shangri-La International Hotel Management Limited, and he is also the chairman and CEO of the Art of Living Foundation India and most of the countries in the Asia Pacific. A graduate in commerce from the University of Mumbai and a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Madhuji's expertise in finance and management consultancy has held him in high regard and standing. He holds several accolades, including being a founding member in the World Forum for Ethics in Business. He also sits on the board of a few listed entities in India. Sandhya Raoji is a senior international faculty with the Art of Living Foundation with interests in the creative arts, including poetry and acting. She is a prison smart teacher who has taught over 2,500 prisoners in the Philippines, and she has been an Art of Living teacher for over 20 years. We thank you both so much for your valuable time in being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll start by asking you, what does a blessing mean to you?
Should I go first?
Yes.
Okay. To me, blessing is basically becoming an instrument to transmit the divine energy of Puja Gurudev, which will result in either upliftment of the recipient or fulfillment of his or her desires. Whatever those desires may be, yeah.
For me, it is when you align with nature, nature aligns with you and grace flows and follows. That is blessing. So every minute of our lives can be a blessing, no matter what.
So nice. Madhuji, can you share some stories of how blessings guided you in your global commerce ventures?
I think blessings as one aspect of the spiritual journey. I don't know whether that was the sole guide, but see, what actually inspired me to take up this program was that you come from a space of giving, right? And if you are in a position to contribute to alleviating somebody's stress in life or making them feel happier, more energetic, or resolving some of their long-standing problems, that I think is the perfect reason to be in this earth. Now, I don't have any evidence or feedback that I can remember now of people coming back and saying that your blessings have given me this solution or it has resulted in some problems going away. But anecdotally, I can say that many people have certainly experienced a lesser intensity in terms of the problems that they have been facing, the difficulties they've been facing, and generally appear to be more happier souls. And this is a process that I do involuntarily almost every day in my life. So, just trying to emulate Gurudev in every step I can in my life.
That is so beautiful. Sandhya ji, we also have as part of the Blessings Channels projects, bhajans. So can you share how music has inspired you, and can you please share some blessing stories in the arts?
Okay. For me, music is, I like the chanting part of Art of Living more than the bhajans. The bhajans are relaxing and soothing, but the chanting makes you feel deeper, peaceful within yourself more deeply. So for me, blessing is just feeling the divinity within yourself and the surroundings. That comes in all the prayers that we listen in the ashram or through anywhere for that matter. And Madhu is a true example of that. He chants Guru Puja every single day. So I keep hearing it all the time. And that itself is a blessing to our house, I think.
How did you both hear about the Art of Living Foundation and who came onto the path first?
Without doubt, Madhuji.
Yeah, we first heard of it sometime, I think, in September 1998 in Hong Kong, when Gurudev visited Hong Kong. And strangely, I, a dear friend and colleague of mine, who is also an Art of Living devotee and who volunteers in the ashram now. That time in Hong Kong, he approached me saying that a guru from Bangalore was visiting Hong Kong and whether I'd like to come and listen to his lecture. And for some strange reason, I said, I'm not interested. So I didn't go to the lecture. And then the next day, I asked him as to what was so unique about that meeting. And he said more than 90% of the audience was Chinese. So that lit a spark in me, saying that then there must be something very special. Because here is a guru who comes in from India and is cutting across all language barriers and maybe cultural barriers and even spiritual barriers. I mean, religious barriers, not spiritual, because most of the Chinese are either Buddhists or Christians in Hong Kong, no Hindus at all. So that intrigued me. And it so happened that they announced happiness program. At that time, it used to be called the Part 1 course. And so he asked me whether I'd like to do it. And I said, yes, certainly. Because I was very keen on listening, knowing the breathing techniques, pranayama and everything else. And I signed up. So that was sometime in October 1998. And of course, the experience was wonderful, out of this world.
Sudarshan Kriya.
Yeah, totally. Including the knowledge points, everything was very, very profound.
Wow. How about you, Sandhya ji?
So for me, it was, I had just done another course called Curriculum of Living, and I said, I don't need to do another one. So for 6 months, I postponed it. But a teacher all the teachers used to come and stay with us in Hong Kong. At that time, there were no teachers locally.
No local teachers, yeah.
So the teacher was very young and he was a journalist. And I was very curious to know how come such a young person is on a spiritual journey like this. And I had to take him to the class 4 times to drop him and pick him. I said, might as well sit in the class. And that's how I did the course 6 months later. But it was one of the most beautiful courses and most complete courses that I think I have done in my life.
That's so wonderful. Madhuji, how do you feel applying meditation in your respective fields has made a difference? Example, in connectivity with people, in staying calm in high pressure situations, and in improved decision making?
I think it's the short answer is yes to all of that. Because, obviously, the group, when I was with them, was growing at a very, very rapid pace and had huge capital plans. So it was not just, signing a contract and sort of executing it. But here we are putting money on the ground and we were talking about billions of dollars. And there were different geographies, right? Because we had presence in almost like about 19, 20 countries. And every time we had to go to a new place, we had to understand, the local situation, the local dynamics, the political situation, the laws, everything. And I was entrusted with that responsibility of doing all the background work and then making a recommendation on the investment decision. So, and then I used to actually front in all the relationships also, whether it was joint venture partners, business partners, hotel owners. So gradually, of course, it was not an overnight task, but gradually, because of my practices, I think I matured in a well-rounded way, so to speak. And that way, I think that gave me a lot of stability, maturity, maybe foresight in anticipating issues and building very, very enduring relationships, to the extent that even to this day, though I've retired 8 years ago, I mean, the ex-business partners and my ex-colleagues, wherever they are in the world, we're still in touch with them. And also, of course, my employers. My employers were very, very unique and wonderful human beings. They still are. I still am in touch with them. And a few of them have actually become ardent devotees of Gurudev. And I would say that because of the way me and my colleagues conducted ourselves, I think that inspired other people to follow us. And we were able to take Art of Living far and wide into many countries in East Asia, primarily mainland China and all that, where we have got probably more than 250 teachers today. But we obviously, the knowledge and the practices gave me a lot more centering, right? More maturity, more wisdom. And it's not that life doesn't bring challenges to you. There are challenges in terms of relationships at the office, at the work level and all that. And even business situations change, economics. Then you have items like, of course, you had COVID, but that time I was already retired. But you had SARS at that time in 2003. So all those were unprecedented events. And we had to basically deal with firmness and at the same time compassion. And I think I would also say that because of my daily practices, probably improved my power of intuition too, because often I used to go to meetings which were called at very short notice, and questions were fired about performance. And uncannily, whatever numbers I used to quote were the correct numbers without having any book to refer to. So, obviously that helped build a lot of credibility. And also became a very trustworthy counselor to people because I was an Indian, but I had different nationalities to deal with, whether it be Europeans of all, or most countries in Europe or United States or Southeast Asia, etc. But all used to gravitate to me for advice and guidance because they felt that though I was very close to the bosses, being in a very responsible and a confidential position, I never abused my position to my advantage. And I ensured that, whatever grievances they had were settled in a very discreet and a very, very sort of nice way. So obviously, I was doing something right. And all credit, of course, to the wisdom of Gurudev.
Wonderful. I mean, with your broad responsibilities as a global person, these practices have definitely helped you a lot.
Immensely.
Yes.
Immensely. And it used to be like this, that I used to come out of a long flight, maybe 8-9 hours intercontinental flight, come home early in the morning, and then hardly sleep on the flight. But then when I used to go to the office, people wouldn't believe that I just got off a flight with very little sleep. And that's because I ensured that as soon as I came home, had my shower, I did my yoga, Shri Yoga, and I did my Sudarshan Kriya and did my whatever, chanting, prayers, etc., and then went to the office. So by the time I reached the office, I was absolutely fresh, as if I had just woken up.
It's very inspiring, actually.
But that way, I'm not compromised at all. Never.
I think to add to that,
Yes, please.
I have never seen a person who's so corporate with a strong spiritual background. That's a very rare.
Yes.
So
Lot to
Madhu
learn.
is an
Yes, lot to learn for us youngsters, actually. Yes.
Sandhya ji, this is a question, this is like a personal question, even as a musician, and I'm sure a lot of musicians across the world will relate to it. With your interest in the creative arts, do you find that these practices help you to be more creative and being more in the moment?
For sure. So recently, I acted in a movie recently, which was a new thing that I've started, which was it's a past dream, which I fulfilled it in maybe 6 years ago. So I acted in a Kannada movie, and So I took part in a pageant and I won the pageant. And so in that, basically any art form for that matter, yeah, whether it's music, whether it's drama, whether it's acting or anything, it is very surreal because you're in that moment. It's something like everybody's vision is on you and you have to perform, right? So to be centered in that situation, you have to be centered to begin with. And to be that, you have to take a care of yourself by doing meditation. So before I would go into anything, I would actually close my eyes and meditate. And I have friends who have taken my video and shared it on Instagram because in the middle of the shooting, I'm actually meditating. I'm the only one among 63 crew members or whatever you can say. And similarly, when I went on the ramp, we are in the wings. So before I come onto the stage, I'm meditating. Before that, I'm meditating in the crowd before our turn comes. So it is definitely immensely required and it's a need for everybody. There's no two ways about it, I think.
Yeah, this is actually very inspiring for us ladies. When we are both juggling household chores and our passions and hobbies. Yes.
Yeah, I did it at my age because I want to basically never to give up in life, whether it's your passion, whether it's your dreams, to hold on to them because always the time will come to you. And like I said, when you align with nature, nature aligns with you. It has to come to you at the right time when you're ready for it.
Absolutely.
Wow, so nice that you mentioned that. Madhuji, I can imagine in the hospitality sector, the concept of instilling a feeling of belonging and being welcome is so important to like the prospective clientele.
It's the difference between success and failure.
Yeah. So what branding helped for you to bring that to the roles you served in?
I think, there are two aspects. One is we talk about internal customers and one we talk about external customers. So we had a very strong philosophy which was ingrained in us by the founders of the group. We're also, like I said, deeply spiritual people. To say that, in the Asian tradition, whether we say Atiti Devo Bhava, whatever it is, different cultures have different interpretations. But it's very common that if somebody comes to your home in Asia, you extend warmth and hospitality and sort of invite your guests to be comfortable in your space. Now, the simple philosophy was that as an owning family, we're basically Malaysian Chinese family, they subscribe to this and they believe in this and they practice this every day. When they build hotels, obviously they're not there at the door to receive guests. So me, my colleagues, etc., we are their agents. And they have entrusted us responsibility to look after their guests who are basically coming to our hotels to stay. And the belief was, if we don't look after our employees, how can we expect them to take care of our guests? So we invested a lot in terms of building employee relationships, not only in terms of just compensation, but also in terms of continuing education, best-in-class practices, ensuring that they had a very, very nice environment to give their best. You can't, like say for instance, you can't have a sweatshop in a kitchen and expect that person to be perspiring and really angry because it's not clean, it's very messy, and then suddenly turn the door, go out into the coffee shop or in the restaurant with a big smile on their face and serve a dish. It's not going to happen. This is not an acting class, right? So people have to be genuine from the heart, right? So that part of the aspect of the service was instilled by actually ensuring that there was a sense of belongingness with the employees. And that was manifest in the fact that most of the employees in the group had an average length of service of 20 plus years, including senior management. I myself served for more than 30 plus years, and I'm still associated with the group in Singapore in one way or the other. And many of my colleagues who are juniors to me have been there for almost like about 20, 25 years in the group. Those who have left have come back to say, life is not the same outside Shangri-La. There is something missing. And that was the soul that we created in Shangri-La. So that sense of belongingness that is so beautifully sort of articulated in Art of Living in the very first day of the happiness program, I Belong to You, is something that we used to live, in the hotel industry. And we were unique. I mean, we used to call Asian hospitality from caring people. And we actually ran a very, very beautiful campaign sometime in the year 2010, where it was a very different situation. I won't go too much into detail because most of the hotels used to only showcase the physical product, a swimming pool, ballroom with chandeliers, or a nice lobby or a room, etc., with somebody is carrying a plate or a tray, well dressed, etc. But we moved away from that to a service philosophy and shot a very, very beautiful campaign, which we at a time go through Google and see the Wolf campaign of Shangri-La, the Wolf campaign. And it ends with a beautiful slogan: to treat a stranger as one's own. It's in our nature, Shangri-La. That was the catchline. To treat a stranger as one's own. It's in our nature, Shangri-La.
Wow.
So that basically sums up, the philosophy with which we approached not only internal customers, but also guests. And that's why we had a very unique competitive position. We're always number one wherever we were competing, whether it was the Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton. They never were a competition to us.
Sandhya ji, you are well known for your warmth and connectivity. Did you find a difference in your interpersonal relationships after incorporating these daily practices into your routine?
For sure. So when I'm with people, I'm a very people's person, okay? I love being with people. I like to interact and all that. So I was always energetic by nature, but being calm was not my forte. So I think I added that to it. So one of the best compliments that I got recently in my pageant, she said, "Sandhya ji, aap jab bolte ho, chalte ho, aap ada छिड़क रहे." So I think that came through Art of Living practices. I would give full credit to it.
But I can also add that, she's very comfortable dealing with a 2-year-old and an 85-year-old person also. Makes them feel at home and can engage with any conversation. There's never a time when she's got into a flight and not made 3 or 5 new friends. You remember what Gurudev always says, when you talk to children, you ask them how many friends you have, and they'll say 2 or 3. And he keeps on saying, make a new friend. Yes. She makes a new friend everywhere she goes, every flight. Some people she brings home also, without announcement.
So advanced course is not easy for me.
And Gurudev will also say, this girl cannot keep silence in the advanced course also. But
I did the minimum for becoming a teacher.
That's true.
Gurudev sab maaf kar diya usko.
Madhu ji, can you please share some blessing stories when you were part of the founding team of the World Forum for Ethics in Business?
Well, there are no specific instances that I can give because that was actually a new initiative that Gurudev took in maybe 15, 18, or maybe even 20 years ago now, I don't remember, where he invited me to also join the founding team. I think Dr. Rajita Bagga was also there and many others, including Christoph Glasser, etc. And that was completely uncharted waters. We're trying to move away from the concept of, corporate greed, which was basically defining behavior, to a very, very ethical way of conducting business, and also to ensure that, we flagged out instances of corruption or abuse or profiteering and those sort of things. So in that aspect, I think blessings really did not connect me with WFEB because that is more a formal institution. And we were basically hammering out the protocols at that point in time on how to basically operate that entity. So the blessings did not have much of a role. Like I said, most of the blessings were at a personal level with all my colleagues and people who were in distress. Now, whether they asked for it or no, once I get to know that somebody is having an issue, whatever may be their level, I will do my bit of trying to send them my blessings, whether it is our own family members, and sometimes even employees of companies where I'm a director. It could be a secretary, it could be somebody else, and somebody tells me that that person is in distress. I may not tell anything to that person, but silently try to send a blessing.
Sandhya ji, can you please share some blessing stories in being involved with the World Culture Festivals over the years?
Okay, so we've attended all of them, whether it was in Germany or whether it was in Washington, D.C. And I think watching the whole 3-day event itself is a blessing to begin with. And because Madhuji is the chairman, we got an opportunity to sit on the stage to see from behind Gurudev. So that itself was like the biggest blessing for us. But more than that, the enthusiasm and the multicultural dimension coming together as one. Even the Japanese ex-prime minister's wife, she was in tears when her speech was happening. I mean, that cannot be possible without grace or feeling blessed. Everybody who spoke or where they performed, they're doing it with a natural feeling of gratitude. And I think that's an example of all the blessings that people have received, and they are expressing it the way they expressed. And it was one of the most beautiful. I think it should not be every 5 years. I think it should rotate to countries whenever it's possible, because it was really magical. Yeah. And even the mayor of Washington, D.C., they had given the land. She gave this initial speech and welcoming Art of Living and Gurudev and all the dignitaries there itself was one of the greatest blessings, I think.
If I can just add to her comments, I think you see the events of this scale and how they have gone off without any hitch.
Yeah.
With completely volunteer-driven initiatives, because Gurudev's
blessing
is there, taken for granted, right? I mean, to have the first one in Jaipur, where more than 3 million people attended over 3 days, not one case of stealing. In fact, Gurudev basically mentioned that the police said that, they've never seen an event of this magnitude, because generally there are political rallies, and political rallies come with its own challenges for police. Here they were not strained at all, and they managed to do with a very little force on the ground. And that was the same issue even in Washington, D.C., where there was no violence, no thefts, no muggings whatsoever. Germany was a different situation. And also the Delhi situation was huge, huge. And I'm not sure whether you were there in Delhi. It rained, right?
Yeah, even in Germany.
And it was cold. It was cold. Okay. But again, you had the wonderful double rainbow.
Yes.
Yeah? So the divine was there in all its glory.
Yes.
But nobody's enthusiasm was dampened at
yeah.
all. Everybody was up to the whole thing.
Yeah, the Delhi WCF was definitely an experience to
Yes. And the stage itself was so special.
Huge. Yes.
Yeah. The idea itself is so beautiful.
Madhuji, going back to your global responsibilities, does the practice of meditation help in communication and adapting to different cultural behaviors?
Yes, I had already touched on that in my earlier comments. Yes, it did, because each culture has its own unique feature, and you need to understand that to establish a more enduring relationship. You can't treat everybody as an Indian and expect that person will behave like that. The Germans behave differently from the French, and the French differently from the Italians, and then from the Brits and the Americans. And you need to understand how to get to that wavelength, to get acceptance. Then relationships are formed. As they say, authority is conferred from above, right? Because it's the directors who say that you are the CEO, you are the boss, etc. But genuine respect comes only from below. And that happens only if you're in a position to relate to people. And the more stable you are, the deeper your practices, You don't get thrown out of balance because some people say things unknowingly because that's part of their culture. Like, say, for instance, the Germans are very direct and blunt, but they don't mean it. They don't mean it. We may be going about in a very goal, roundabout fashion, but they cut the chase and come directly to the point and say it to your face, but their intentions are very good. So all these you need to understand, and it's only by getting deeper and deeper into the practice that you become more stable. And even sometimes, a comment is hurtful, it doesn't stay with you. Yeah? And when they see that you're in a position to actually live the knowledge that is given to us in the course, then people say, there's something special about him, there's something special about her, there's something special about this course. There is always curiosity. How come you're doing all this? That's when you tell them, come, I'll let you into the secret, follow. And that's how many people joined the program. We were able to roll out Art of Living to almost all the Shangri-La hotels in the world.
So in lighter vein, I want to tell you, my brother would joke about it, saying that Madhu is the mastermind. He got his bosses to do Art of Living. He got his colleagues to do Art of Living. He got his, juniors to do Art of Living so that his life is comfortable.
Why not?
And
Why not?
peaceful.
Actually, that's a very good idea.
No, but in the process, they also benefit, right?
Yes.
Knowingly or unknowingly.
Yes. Sandhya ji, Singapore is a melting pot of many cultures. Similarly, do you feel meditation has helped you in communication, adapting to different cultures?
Actually, it starts from Hong Kong. We lived in Hong Kong longer, 30 years, and then Singapore about 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're all similar Asian countries. And definitely, over the years, of course, it's a natural thing that, we teach in Art of Living that, we are different countries, different languages, different religions, but air doesn't distinguish, right? So that's an obvious thing that when we are teaching, we also live with that, right? So we are okay with anybody and everybody. And ultimately, I have taught in many, many countries just to understand human beings in different cultures and countries. And trust me, everybody is the same in the core, right? Yeah, like Gurudev says, we are all love. And everything above is love turned upside down. So we apply Art of Living to everything we do, no matter where we are.
Wonderful. Sandhya ji, as a steady guiding light by Madhuji's side, have these practices helped you in being a sounding board for Madhuji's roles to give him strength, peace, and balance?
No. Madhuji's sounding board is God. He only does it in prayers. Yeah, so we actually, whatever we need to have a sounding board, we give it to him to give it to God. So that's our natural thing. So I wouldn't take any credit for that. He's very prayerful naturally. In fact, I keep telling him you have to give God also a break because he spends a lot of time. And interestingly, I had asked a question to one of the senior teachers when I was younger, Rishi Vidyadharji, and I said, Madhuji closes his eyes he practices yoga, meditation, chanting, so many things, Guru Puja, etc. So he's keeping his eyes closed for almost 2.5 hours. So is that okay for his brain? So, Rishijit said very cutely, he said a nice answer. He said, in every religion, you have to give 10% of your earning to charity, right? In Christianity, in Muslims. So he said, if somebody is giving 10% of 24 hours to the divine, I think you should be happy for that. So I have nothing to say further. So,
Madhuji, do you agree to her point of view? Do you agree to her point of view?
I do.
In fact, there is no need of words for that. He's always silent.
No, we are exact. That way we are complementary, like says opposite values. She doesn't require an excuse to talk. I only talk when required to the minimum level. Too much of a corporate person in my life.
That's wonderful. Yeah, with both of us as young professionals in our mid careers, Madhuji, how would you assess that business has changed over the years, and what advice would you have for the next generation?
Business has changed, but values have never changed. So there's always a temptation of being opportunistic, right? Make quick money, shine, go ahead in life at any cost. That should never happen. And so long as you've got your values intact, I think whatever challenges will come, you'll be able to overcome them. And I think doing sadhana daily, I think, is not negotiable. That is the only sort of saving, blessing, shield that we have to overcome whatever obstacles come. And the world is going through a very difficult phase, as we all know, politically and even economically, and probably more difficult days to come. And one doesn't really know what's going to be the impact of AI on the human race, on employment. There are a lot of people, in fact, somebody said, most of the software programmers don't know that they're writing code to actually make themselves redundant. Because eventually AI will take over everything, including cognitive abilities. So what does it do to mankind? Very difficult to predict at this stage. I don't think our mind has gone to that level. So all I can say is we are in the sunset years. We've been there, done that, finished our career. But I do fear for the generations to come, including our children, grandchildren, and all the youngsters, including both of you on the call, because it's a very, very uncertain and challenging future. But unlike others, you are blessed that you have Gurudev in your lives. So at the end of the day, there will be a solution that will be found, and things will not sort of throw you off your balance. But how many of are as privileged as both of you are at your age or even younger? And that is why Gurudev says there's no time to lose. We must actually spread this knowledge as quickly as possible, because that is the only savior for humanity. Right? Otherwise, you cannot deal with situations. I mean, look at the pervasive influence of social media on youngsters. I mean, you're talking about drugs and cigarettes and people lacing sweets with drugs to bring children at the age of 7 and 8 into this habit. It's happening in India, And all I'm saying is it's very, very frightful. If any of your children are exposed to that, you've lost them in your life. Which parent wants to face that? But these are not challenges which we are reading in the news. It's actually happening on our doorstep. Right? So it is a very, very scary situation that the world is facing today. Most people don't know how to look for solutions. The solutions are there with us. And I think it is therefore our responsibility to ensure that this knowledge goes deeper and faster than what it is being done today. And like I say in all my, counsel or talks to the graduating teachers, there's no better way to invite people on the path than to live this knowledge. If you live the knowledge, people will be inspired. How did you actually come here? Because you were inspired by Gurudev. Because he said in a human form, it is possible to live this wisdom. Correct? Be in the present moment, be complete, unconditional love, etc., and always be smiling. So if that is something that we can all emulate, I think we have done our job.
Madhuji, in these times of financial instability, what advice do you have to businesses, commerce, especially the young entrepreneurs of India? I'd like to ask this question.
Like I told you, work hard, don't be opportunistic, have faith, and at the same time, keep your feet on the ground. Some people will face tremendous successes, tremendous, because that was their destiny. Right? You find almost billionaires in their late 20s, early 30s today. Right? But the challenge is that you are not able to handle that. And that's because you're not grounded. So again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, you need to get into a daily sadhana. Whatever it is, you need to ensure that you have that spirituality firmly ingrained in you, the value system ingrained in you, and at the same time be very, very hardworking. Don't ever come from a space of entitlement. That's how businesses fail. The next generation comes from a space of entitlement. You know, I'm born in this family, this is my entitlement. And businesses fail, right? You come from a space of gratitude. And that it's a privilege to serve people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think to add to that, I would say challenges are required. They have to dream, they have to have goals, but not being feverish about it. That's the bottom line. And how not to be feverish is by having spiritual practices. So seva, satsang,
Sadhana.
sadhana, and silence. My
she puts that the last priority. You've seen that.
We need all of that. We need all of that. No matter what they are doing or who's doing what. It's the bottom line for it.
Yes. So yeah, Sandhya ji, what advice you have for householders and to prepare for the future in these times of financial instability?
I think fundamentally to keep a family okay, you have to be okay. And for you to be okay, you know, obviously you have to be calm, centered, etc. Right? So being happy, celebrating, all that comes naturally. Once you're meditating or doing Sudarshan Kriya or any spiritual practice, I always tell people, like people say, air is for free. Use it to calm yourself down. No matter what you practice in your life, it's an essential part of our lives. So if you are centered, then the world around you automatically, the peace will follow you, no matter what. It's a natural thing, right? And if you're chaotic, chaos will follow. So I think whether it's a householder, by the way, I used to be a software programmer before Art of Living for more than 20 years and then became a teacher. So, but once I did Art of Living, I said, I don't want to do any software programming ever. Yeah, and that's how I'm happy that I did it. So basically anything that you do, the effect is a ripple effect, yeah? And then the neighbors, the friends, the immediate family, the extended family, and so forth. So on and so forth, yeah. So that's the bottom line.
If I just add a couple of comments to what she said. I think the challenge today is the families are becoming more and more nuclear. And then with the husband and wife both earning to make ends meet and give the child a decent lifestyle, obviously there are a lot of challenges coming with it. And like I said, with the advent of social media, you often find children, all of them having a tablet or something, you know, and at the age of 3 and 4, they're already watching screen. As Gurudev says, you have attention deficiency syndromes starting at a very young age. So all these are issues that parents have to grapple with. And most of them are basically taking a convenient exit or a convenient solution rather than taking the right solution. And this has a ripple effect. And if you don't have, so, you know, families are moving apart also. You don't find the type of togetherness that probably we in our generation have, of cousins and everybody coming, because, you know, even siblings move away from one another. So that way you see the society at the family level is becoming fragmented. I think at a global level, it's going to become worse. So I think all this comes with awareness. And, you know, that is the beauty of Art of Living, that you create this sense of belongingness and awareness and telling people that there's a bigger role that we have to play in life. Yeah.
And live with example. Live by being an example.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Before we end, Sandhya ji, if we may request you to inspire us with one of your poems.
Okay.
Okay.
I have to read it out. So few years ago, Gurudev in Bali, we had a teachers meet in 2008 actually. And he said, why don't you all do something creative with whatever you learned in the whole week? So he said, whether it's a song, whether it's a drama, skit, whether it is poetry, could be anything. So a friend of mine and me, we went to the class early, but we didn't do our homework. So she was good in Hindi and I was better in English. So I said, चलो हम लोग खिड़की से बाहर देख के समुंदर देख के poetry लिखते हैं. So we actually, that's my first poem. And I think till date, it's the best one, okay, according to me. So I'll need my glasses.
Her best poem. Her best poem. Her
Yeah,
best poem.
my best poem. Okay. So it's called Inspiration. Okay. So when I look out of this magnificent window, watching the waves silently touch the shore, they whisper into my ears, let go, let go, let go. The ocean beckons me into the silent depths of my soul. I see only abundance, the beautiful sky, the birds, the glimmer of sunshine, merging, soaking into the ocean, seamless with perfection. I can feel, touch, and see it with my heart. I can only wonder. The waves teach me to move with courage and consistency. The clouds teach me to move with grace, dignity, and purity. Untouched by imperfection, the birds teach me to be focused yet relaxed. The fishes teach me to agree to disagree. The shells teach me just to shine and spread beauty and light. The sands teach me to absorb and be non-judgmental. The trees to be silent spectator. The crisp warm breeze to be unconditional. The crabs crawling out of their shells with their heads popping out tell me live and let me live, live and let live. And to sum it all, our dearest Gurudev says, just be.
Wow, that was super.
That was
Super
wonderful.
amazing.
Yes.
And
Uh,
coincidentally, Just Be was the theme of the women's conference. We didn't know about it.
This year, yeah.
This year.
International
Yes,
Women's
yes.
So she ended her poem in 2008 with that Just Be.
Wow. Wow.
Coincidental.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you to both of you for your time today
Not at all.
and for your dedication in your fields and for inspiring many thousands of people. It has been an honor for us to learn from you and be with you both. Thank you again.
Thank you both of you.
Gurudev,
Jai Gurudev.
Very good.
Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev.
Okay.